For those of you who don't know me, my friends call me Becca.
Hi, Becca.
My family calls me Bulldozer. But most importantly, I'm Katie's sister, her Tanner sister. Wow, how good does Katie look tonight? Can I just... I'd say the same to Matt, but we all know weddings are about the bride. Happy wife, happy life. And I was told I only have approximately 2 minutes for this, so that means I have about 1 minute and 37 seconds left, so here we go. Thank you. I'll never forget when Matt asked everybody in my family individually for Katie's hand in marriage. Not only was I flattered and honored, but I was super excited. And as her more inquisitive, protective sister, I had to know why. And I'll never forget Matt's answer. Matt said, I want to marry Katie because she has such a heart of service and is the most selfless person I know, which I know is echoed as well in the ceremony. At that moment, it really hit me like, wow. Oh, I'm not gonna cry.
Don't do it.
Katie found her dream man, and he found his dream woman. And I also knew they were meant to be when they came downtown to visit me and Kevin. Upon arrival, they asked for a full itinerary of our day. And Kevin and I are like, oh, we're gonna, sunbathe, lay by the pool. And again, they asked, well, how long will we be sunbathing? And how long will lunch be? And approximately what time will we leave so we can go to our next endeavor? It was at that moment I knew they were 2 peas in a pod. And speaking of time, I probably only have about 20 more seconds left. So if everybody could please stand and raise your glass. Here's to finding reasons to stay instead of reasons to leave. And congratulations to your happily ever after. We love you guys.
Hi everybody, my name is Samantha. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Katie's oldest sister. I'm also her favorite sister. So, growing up, we definitely fell into our stereotypical birth order roles. And this really was exemplified in a Christmas play that we did for our family in the late 90s, and we have videotape evidence of this. So as the oldest, I'm known for being a little bit bossy. In this play, I was the playwright, the director, the producer, and the star. And every few minutes, I would burst onto the stage and yell cut, and then critique my sisters and my cousins because they weren't delivering the lines correctly, the way I had written them. Then you have Becca, Bulldozer, middle child, so the difficult, dramatic. This is definitely Rebecca. Becca was very irritated that our cousin Alexis was getting more stage time than her. So during Alexis's solo, Rebecca comes out, rips her headband off, and starts beating Alexis with it. And then you have the baby of the family. And the baby is the cute one, the sweet one, the easygoing one that everybody loves. So Katie, our baby, my cousin Lucas pans the camera over to her, and she's sitting in the corner, cute as can be, with her finger halfway up her nose digging her hole.
That's our girl.
As the baby of the family, it would have been very easy for Katie to just follow in Rebecca's and my footsteps, but she never did that. She was always very unique, very independent. Rebecca and I loved clothes, fashion, makeup. Katie couldn't care less. We always said she was our tomboy in the family. Becca and I were into singing and dancing. Katie was a star athlete all the way. She was a skateboarder. You could see her at the Encinitas skate park, this little blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl on the big ramps with all the teenage boys. She was totally fearless. She did water polo, soccer, anything she put her mind to. She loved adventure and she would go out and do it. And in college, this love for adventure grew. She decided she was going to travel the world. She did 2 semesters abroad, not just 1. And she went to over 20 countries. She made some incredible friends, some of whom are here tonight. And that love for adventure continued to grow. And when she got back, she took on the next adventure and the next challenge, which was to get her master's. And that paid off last month when Katie graduated. are a strong, independent, beautiful woman, and I'm really honored to be your big sister. And I think the biggest and the best adventure that you have embarked on is the one that we're all here celebrating tonight, which is your relationship with Matt. Growing up, Katie never talked to me about boys, so you can imagine how shocked and taken aback I was when she told me, hey, I met someone. And what really let me know that it was special was the smile that she had on her face. I've never seen her smile like that. And Matt, you are the only person in the world that makes Katie smile like that. Like my sister, you are strong, you're independent, you love adventure, you are a man of conviction, and you are single-minded in your pursuit of your dreams. And there is no one else that makes Katie so happy, and no one that I could be happier to see her with. So if everybody would join me in raising a glass to Matt and to Katie, may you guys adventure into matrimony together with all of our support. God bless you, and we love you.
All right. Oh.
There we go. Check. Hey, there we are. All right. So I did not know about the 2-minute time limit, and so I'm a preacher. I'll apologize to whoever's keeping time right now. I'm going to apologize up front. So I have the unique, position of knowing both of these for a long time. Before you guys even met, I've known both of you for many, many years. And so I'm connected because Katie and my wife are cousins. And so I remember first meeting Katie when she was 9 years old and she had a bowl cut. Some of you remember those days? It was pretty sweet. And so watching Katie grow up, I've not only seen her hairstyle upgrade throughout the years, but I've also been able to witness just an amazing person that you are. And you have such a sweet spirit about you, and we all love that. And not only do you have a sweet spirit, but you're also someone who puts others first and serves them and loves other people well. And that's why so many people here are here, because they love you and they've experienced you putting them first and loving them first. And so I know I'm on the dude side of the table, and so I'm going to save most of my content for Matt, but I just wanted to say to you, Katie, I love you, and it's been a joy to watch over these especially the last few years, you grow in your faith and relationship with Jesus, and then you growing in your relationship with Matt. And I'm so happy for you two today. I just want to tell you that. Well, I met Matt when he was a senior in high school, and then I really got to know him as he graduated high school and then came into the young adult college ministry that I was leading at the time. And so getting to know Matt, some of you don't know him very well, and so a couple quick things that you need to know about Matt is, one is that I'm surprised that he's wearing shoes, okay? I didn't even know he owned a pair of shoes, and I bet you as of 2 days ago, he did not own a pair of shoes. He was probably about those yesterday, didn't you? This is the first time I've seen him in shoes, and I've known this guy for a long time. So typically Matt is barefoot, and he is wandering around searching for his sandals because he's lost them. That happens. And Katie, just a little pro tip, if he's lost his sandals, they're in his car under his seat. That's normally where he loses stuff, inside his car all the time. Second thing you need to know about Matt is Matt has been known to tear his pants on the dance floor at weddings. So you guys don't know this. You don't know that. And so if that happens tonight, it would not be the first time this happened. It would not be the second time that this has happened. But don't fret. We know it's his wedding. You're like, oh my goodness. Matt always has a spare pair of pants in his car as well. So he is ready and prepared for that. Just a couple pro tips you need to know about Matt. Now, when I first started to get to know Matt, one of the things I noticed real quickly was how competitive he is. He is super competitive. And if you know Matt, you know that he's always rooting for teams that are winning championships. Now, when I first met him, I thought, wow, this guy's so lucky. He's so favored. He's so fortunate. The teams that he loves just always win championships. And then I discovered Matt's secret. You see, Matt will choose a team that's on a winning streak, that's got a dynasty, and that will become his team of choice. Some of you don't believe me. Okay, Matt, we've talked about it. He's a New England Patriots fan, right? Now you might be wondering, yeah, he's probably been booing. You're like, well, surely Matt grew up in New England. The answer is no, he did not. You might be thinking, well, maybe his parents, they're from Boston, aren't they? No, they're not. I'm not even convinced that Matt has ever been in New England or ever been to Boston in his entire life. There is one reason, and one reason only, that Matt is a Pats fan. because they're winners. And Matt likes to win. So Matt's super competitive. And if you've ever played any games with him, played any sports with him, played volleyball, spike ball, gone to church camp and there was competition there, Matt has been known to be a little competitive. And one time at church camp, the staff there had a little meeting and they said, Matt, could you stop being so abrasive? This was the adjective they used to describe my friend Matt. And on hearing this word, I thought to myself, there's no way. Like, Matt's such a loving guy. Matt is awesome. Like, I don't understand why you're using this abrasive. Like, that's a pretty rough word. Well, I didn't understand it until one time. You see, we were playing a board game at my house called Settlers of Catan. Raise your hand if you've played this game before. Okay, so you know it's a good way to lose some friends, right? And so we were playing Settlers, and Matt was my friend until he wasn't. And during this game, he lied to me. He stole. He cheated. And ultimately, he stabbed me in the back. And he won that game. And then after winning, in the midst of his victory, he started trash talking me in my house. It's the one time I've been very upset and angry with him. So upset that I stood up from the table, pushed the table back. I yelled. I didn't say any cuss words. I'm a pastor. Come on, people. I walked into my room and I went to bed. And as I lay in bed, there was only one word I could think of to describe Matt. Help me with it. Abrasive. So I just want to warn you, Katie. I know Matt loves you. I know he's going to serve you. He'll lay down his life for you. But if he's losing in a game, he will steal, kill, and destroy. Stab you in the back, and then gloat in his victory over you. So I warned you. Well, Matt's not always competitive, though. That's not the only thing that stands out to me about him. Matt is also a community builder. You see, for a couple of years, Matt lived with my wife and I and rented a room. And then for like 9 more years, he would just hang out every night, not pay rent, and eat all our food. But Matt would come over and use our jacuzzi like 6 or 7 nights out of the week. And it was to a point that like we'd have friends over for dinner, and Matt and just like a group of friends would just go around the side of the house, open up, walk around, and people were like, someone's breaking in. Like, oh no, it's just Matt hanging out with people and using our jacuzzi. And so 6 or 7 nights a week, our jacuzzi was used, and like 10, 20, like just a million people would come over hanging out with Matt. And it would happen so often, we started to call it jacuzzi ministry. Okay? This was like an extension of our church ministry, Matt bringing people over and hanging out in the jacuzzi. And so reflecting back on jacuzzi ministry, many of you have experienced jacuzzi ministry, and reflecting back on it, I realized that like it wasn't about hot water and like people sitting in hot water staring at each other, which is what jacuzzis are. It's kind of weird if you think about it. But it wasn't about hot water. It was about gathering people together. And Matt, you are someone that builds community. You are someone that brings people together and invites them into friendship, into a deeper friendship. And these people have all experienced that. And Katie, your household is going to experience that. That you, as you form a family, Matt's going to invite people in to hang out all the time because he builds community. That's who he is. So Matt is competitive. Matt's a community builder. And lastly, Matt's the guy you call when you need something. Matt's there, always willing to help. He's such a good friend. And I think a measure of a good friend is someone when you call and say, hey, I'm moving, they're the one that comes over and helps you move. Matt's that guy. So people will call me, my friends, and say, hey, can you come move? And the first thing I do is I call Matt Griesby. And then sometimes I show up and I help. But sometimes, no joke, there have been times where Matt will show up and help move my friends. And they'll arrive, like Matt will arrive like, who are you? And they're like, he's like, I'm Matt, and I'm here to help you move. Okay, cool. And he'll just dive in, and I don't even go to help. But that's just who he is. He's willing to drop everything in order to help anyone with anything in their life. And Matt, that's such an amazing quality of you're the guy to call when anyone needs help. Well, let me wrap this up since I'm over my 2 minutes by about 10. You know, my relationship with Matt is pretty unique. There's not really a good category to fit it in. So like we're friends, I'm his pastor, but also like we have like it's moved beyond friends into family. And so I look at him as like a little brother, also somewhat like a son. We have this really unique relationship and friendship. And through the years, Matt has become kind of part of our family. My kids call him Uncle Greasby. But in the midst of that relationship, Matt has like sometimes like tried to like become part of our family like formally. And I'm like, you already have an awesome family. Like we don't need to adopt you in. And then he was like trying to see if my wife had other sisters that were available, and then like Erica got married, so he's like, okay, that can't work. And then like her sister Jerry got married, okay, that can't work. And then like Paige moved off to Tennessee to college, okay, that can't work. So then Matt starts searching around San Diego to see if there's any other family members that he can find, and then enter in Katie Feliciato. And then all of a sudden, this Patriots fan starts showing up at Chargers games, and we're like, "Why are you into Chargers?" You know? And he's going down there. He's like thinking about getting season tickets, this whole deal. We're like, "What's going on?" And then we're discovering that he's going to the Chargers games because he knows Katie's going to be there, and he's like, "Hey, just like Chance, I ran into you. What do you know? We're both here in San Diego." And so he starts putting the moves on Katie and starts to rope her in. Over the last couple of years, he's wooing her. And so here in your wedding, Matt, I must say to you, you did it. You won. You somehow weaseled your way into the family, and you're now officially in. And so I just wanted to say, on behalf of Katie's extended family, we love you, we welcome you in, your family. I want to invite everyone at this time to stand as we make a toast. And let me say these words. May your settlers at the 10 games be civil. May Tom Brady win championships into his 50s. May the jacuzzi always be heated. And whenever I need help, may you always be available. Cheers.
Got some fans in the crowd. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to start off by saying I think we're all surprised to be here today. Not because of Katie, right? Obviously, look at Katie. She could have had anybody she wanted. But Matt, I thought he was going to be like a great 37-year-old stepdad. I thought he was going to really lock it in later on in life. But good job, bud. And hey, that's not to say he's not a good looking, well, okay, but he doesn't make up for it on paper, you know. Guy's a history teacher, but he can barely read or write. I have to proofread a lot of his papers, ask anybody. And you heard Bill talk about he's an athlete, but that's pretty gracious, I think. And Bill's old, and he doesn't remember how long ago that was. Nowadays, Matt's got the back of like an 84-year-old lifelong rice picker. Don't worry, Katie, that won't be a problem. Sorry, son. But I'll tell you what, there was somebody else that people wrote off, that people said, oh, he doesn't look good on paper. No, he's kind of ugly, he doesn't have a good smile. And that was Tom Brady. The year was 2000. Tom Brady was the 199th pick. And look what happened there, the man's the GOAT. And much like Matt, I won't deny it, he's a straight rider. And I know Matt brought 1 ring, Tom Brady brought 6, but forget about that. And I know Tom Brady cheated, forget about that too. In typical lawyer fashion, I'm going to tell you why Matt's the greatest in 3 prongs. 1, Matt is the most thoughtful person. Oh, my wife's here. Matt's the second most thoughtful person I know. He gets me little gifts. I'm in my last year of law school. He'll buy me a little something when I graduate. It's nice of him. Last week I was having a bad time. He got me a pie. That literally happened. I had a rough week last week. Matt got me my favorite pie. He's like my grandma, you know? So in a way, he's both Tom Brady and a grandmother. And your favorite grandmother, not the racist one, the other one. All that to say, he's very thoughtful. And in a weird way, that's how he got Katie, right? He was like buying flights and doing this weird thing. And I thought, hey man, you're coming off a little creepy. But it worked. She liked that. She said she liked that. You all heard it. You were there. I was surprised. 2 peas in a pod. Secondly, Matt's super honest. And that's what I love about him. What you see is what you get with Matt. There's a passage that I love to think about is when Jesus sees Nathanael and he says, here's an Israelite in whom there is no deceit. And I think Matt perfectly fits that. If you've ever talked to the guy, you know he's very honest. We've gone through some tough things together, and he's always been super straightforward with me. You don't know me, but I can be a difficult person to talk to. I know. I'm being hard on myself. Thanks, Jason. But it's true. People say all kinds of things about me. They're not true. And Matt's always really honest with me, and I really appreciate it. And the pie's good. And lastly, the thing I think, actually, hang on. Here's how much of a grandma Matt is. I'm sorry, let me go back. One time I was getting my car fixed. And for you kids out there, there's something called a clutch in a car. Those old timers know. You know what I'm talking about. And my clutch went out. Sorry, Kurt, you're just there. You're the mustache. What do you want me to do? You brought the mustache. I didn't do it. And I got my clutch fixed. And I went to the guy because it was broken, and I said, hey man, you fixed my clutch and it's broken. And he said, when did you get it repaired? And I thought, you think I freaking know when I got my clutch repaired? So guess what I called? I called Maddie. I go, hey Maddie, when did I get my car repaired? Matt says October last year. That's not all he said. He texted me 3 minutes later. He checked his journal? Hey man, actually it was October 17th. I thought, why the hell did he write that down? But that's Maddie. He's always thinking. And lastly, I think people have said this ad nauseum. Matt's a great servant. Talk about laying down your life for your friends. Here I got another story for you. Matt and I met when I was 13, and Matt was a senior in high school, I was a freshman. We were in the same life group, like little church group together, Platinum Zone forever, Sean's on here. And I was hanging out with, good boo over there. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine, not Matt, another 13-year-old dummy. And we thought, hey, you know what'd be cool is to set off fireworks, so let's go do that, super illegal. And we went out and we thought, let's just go super late, like, I don't know, 11:45. So we go out, we're setting off fireworks. There's a nice cop doing his job. He sees us. He starts chasing us a little bit. Just like super light, not like super crazy. And, I'm kind of hiding behind cars. I'm thinking we're going to get shot or something. Brown guy in America. And what ends up happening is, I take this to the next level. I hop into a ditch. And I start running. And I ran, I used to be a lot faster, if you can see me. And I ran about a little bit over half a mile. And I get out of the ditch and I hide behind the Taco Bell, like in the drive-thru. I'm kind of standing on top of the thing. And there's a helicopter, and I know it wasn't for me, but when you're 13, you think, man, these people are serious. These people are serious about fireworks safety. And I didn't know who to call because all my friends are idiots and they don't drive. And my parents don't know I'm out because I said I was sleeping over at my buddy's house, so I called Matt. And it's, by this time it's like, I don't know, 12:30 or something, and he picks up and he's like, hello? That's what he sounds like all the time. And I said, hey man, so funny story, I'm running from the cops and you should pick me up. And he said, you know what he said? Okay, like he didn't ask me. Hey man, I robbed the bank, I need you to try. Nothing, he said, okay. So he comes pick me up, and we barely know each other. He's a cool senior. Oh, he's a senior. And I'm a very cool, connected freshman. Obviously called senior. And he drove me home, and I thought, man, that's a cool guy. And we actually didn't become friends 2 years after that. But Matt, that's the kind of guy he is. And, Ken was telling a story about him helping people move, and I just want to talk about why Matt is like that. And I think it's not an accident. I think it's a mentality he has. And it's an important mentality that he has that's opposed to a lot of us. When someone asks you to move, you think, how do I get out of this? You think to yourself, okay, I think I'm going to break my arm, or my car's not working, or oh, my hip hurts when it's cold. Someone's like, you're 25, like, what are you, a doctor? You don't know me. And Matt thinks the opposite. Matt thinks, why wouldn't I help this person? And I think that's the most Jesus thing about Matt. There's a lot of things that aren't, but this most Jesus thing about Matt is Matt thinks, why wouldn't I help this person? Like, he could hear somebody over there talking about moving, and he'd think, I should help that person. Or I think, I'm going to start walking away, because they're going to take one look at me and say, hey, you lift heavy stuff. And Matt carries that everywhere, youth ministry, in our friendship, and it's amazing. It's awesome. And that's why he's the GOAT. Honestly, greatest of all time. That's not some weird animal reference. That's him. And then he brought along Katie. And the first time I met Katie, she knows what story's coming. It's my favorite one. Now, most of you don't know me. I'm an old-timey guy. I'm about respect. I like firm handshakes. I like looking people in the eyes. And Katie, first time she came over, I had just moved back with my parents because I was about to marry that beautiful woman over there. And so I moved with my parents, and Matt's like, hey, I'm bringing over my girlfriend. You know, she's going to meet her. It's a big thing. I'm obviously his best friend. He said it. You heard him. And she brings her over, and first off, I only saw her picture, so I'm like, oh my gosh, what? She's gorgeous. You don't know what's going on. People Photoshop. So I'm impressed. I'm thinking she's weird. Or, you know, or something. But she's a plumber, so, you know, she had the name. I was like, okay, she's coming in with some, you know, she's got a resume. And I'm telling a long-winded story like I'm doing right this second. It's dragging on like this whole speech. And Katie is listening, just like she's doing right now. And her phone rings. And now I'm expecting everyone, you know, all of us, damn, you guys know. All of us, we're expecting us to, you know, grab our phone and look at it, whatever. She reaches down. She's making like direct eye contact with me. She's not even really blinking, I don't think. And she silences her phone. She still hasn't blinked. It's kind of freaking me out. And she says, I'm sorry, please continue. She got me, folks. That was it. I said she's in. Love that. That girl's in. And now she's in our life group, our Bible study. She's one of our best friends. Obviously, we like her more than Matt by now. But he's locked himself in, classic Matt. And yeah, she's one of our best friends. And I don't have a lot of friends, you wouldn't imagine. But Katie's certainly one of them. And finally, if I wrap this up, I want to give some advice. Now, I've been married 2 years, so clearly I know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys might want to write this down. Relax, Kurt, okay? I got it. Now, much like the 2017 Patriots, you might find yourself down and out. You might be down by 25 points in the third quarter. And a lot of people are going to hope you lose. And I'm going to hope you lose. But in this case, I'm not. And marriage sometimes goes that way. But I think it's important to remember, much like the Patriots, you don't blame yourselves, you don't start bickering, you remember that you're on the same team. And that everything else, and much like the Patriots trusted Bill Belichick, you'll trust God. I know, Bill Belichick is not God. That's why Matt's got a gleam in his eye. I just want to make sure we understand. I am not saying Bill Belichick is anything but an old cheater, am I right? But it's important that you remember you're on the same team. And whatever the problem may be, even if the problem feels like it's coming from one of you. It could be, you know, Matt's childishness. But that's a problem you work on. It could be Matt's stubbornness. You know, and it could be Matt's competitiveness. It could be a bunch of stuff from both of them. But always remember, there's a timer going on. And that's ever a sign. Kurt's pulling the string. I'm done, Kurt. Thanks, buddy. Kurt's been way more prominently featured than I thought he was going to be. He wasn't supposed to be this involved. I didn't run you in, Kurt. Your play, buddy. Anyways, to a love that will never deflate, hold your glasses up.